It says Americans will be poor overnight. What do y'all think about that?
What does that mean?
Well, that says Brazil
They're talking
agrees.
about the American dollar going down.
Well, it says they're just not using it
Okay.
in their transactions.
Yeah.
But
Brazil and China.
China might be a problem because China
China's a
has
big
a
problem.
huge population and they spend a
they-
lot of money and
their
they make a lot of
economy,
stuff.
yeah.
They have a big economy, but I don't know if it's like a thriving economy. I know Brazil has no.
That might
They-
affect
they
us a
make-
lot, though. You don't think that will affect America?
You know
I
what's
don't know if
crazy?
it will because like
Until
So
2008.
that means that everything is going to have to get made in America. Because if we can't give them money, they can't use that in China.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is
you
the
can
problem.
still give the country money, but I'm saying
They're
like
gonna
the
tax us,
people-
bro. They're gonna tax us, bro.
okay, so
Exchanges.
let's see how much the yen is to US
It's about
dollar.
like 3. It's like 6 right now. We checked
Bro,
earlier.
one Chinese yen is worth 15 American cents. So does that mean that dollar is more than
What you said?
It's
One
one
American
US
dollar is 15.
one
Yeah.
Chinese yen is worth 15
But one
cents.
American dollar is $6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, $1 US 6. It
What?
used to be in 2000 before 2008 when we had the first little
That was worth
recession. It used to be
15 cents in
$8.
America. Like, so 15 cents in America is $1 over there.
Yeah, and then pesos is ridiculously high.
But
Yeah,
that's-
one US dollar is almost $7.
But
in
Ghana,
Chinese
it's
yen.
like
So they have to be saying, bro, they're not letting transactions come there, bro. That's what I believe.
No, they might not
Think
tax
about
us.
this though, bro. Why would it say
They can't do that, bro. They're not
to
gonna do
get
that.
US dollars? They're not
let's-
paying stuff
That
in
means
US dollars.
That means they're going to use yen
Yeah, they're gonna
in
tax
transactions.
Yeah, like-
so they're
So
gonna
they
use-
already have been using
You
it?
ever heard
They've
of
been
the
using the
gold?
US dollar. But like, what does that mean though? Because
That's what
Brazil does not have a thriving economy. They're actually in the
let's-
labor shortage. They're
let's
one
see.
of the worst labor shortages in economies. I'm pretty sure China is threatening to go into the labor shortage too in a few years, based on this TED Talk.
I
just
think
watched.
I was told that they're backing their money behind gold and stuff. Like, so the worth of it is gonna be higher.
Yeah, Brazil is in a 7% labor shortage in 2020. By 2030, it's going to be 33% labor shortage.
Oh, wow.
That's fucking horrible.
Bro, I just
That's
see,
actually
like-
the worst labor shortage in the world.
Some shit where we're saying something about
China.
McDonald's was getting.
So that means they don't have
Yeah,
jobs. People
McDonald's-
That
all
means
these
they are,
businesses-
they are 33% negative, so they need people to work. They have no people to fill the need of jobs.
So they need workers.
Yes. So that means their economy
So
is
why aren't the people working though?
Bro, they're already in the 7% labor shortage in 2020. That's 3 years ago. So
But how
by
can they
2030,
just-
it's going to increase
Living off the
26%.
government or something?
Bro, that just means like
It
they
does
can't find
happen.
people to meet the needs of the jobs to run the economy, to drive the economy. That means that they're not growing; they're going down. So they have no economy, they
No,
have
I'm
no
saying, but
stability.
why?
Because their people are not getting the qualifications. They're not meeting the requirements to meet the jobs. They don't want to work. They can't work.
So
And China is in the 7%
who is
surplus, but by 2030 they're predicted to be in a negative 3% labor shortage. And that's the biggest population on Earth. So
A lot of all of us.
what how does that really threaten us as Americans if we're two
I don't know.
economies that are in shortages?
I have no idea, bro.
Uh,
But hopefully he explains it.
Yeah.
Y'all let us know this guy's name again. We did a reaction off him one time. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
him?
Yeah, they said his
I don't
name.
remember him.
That was
Yeah,
y'all
maybe I hear his voice.
reparations, bro.
This is great.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
him with
remember
the
that.
reparations. bro.
Right.
It's reparations,
I just
bro.
don't
Come
recognize
on, my
it.
brother.
China and Brazil strike deal to ditch the U.S. dollar. This is a zero hedge story, and they have reached a deal to trade in their own currencies, bypassing the U.S. dollar. This deal will allow the two countries to conduct their massive trade, which amounts to 150 billion per year, in financial transactions directly exchanging yuan for
What did that
Ria
tweet say?
will allow the two countries to conduct their massive trade, which amounts to 150 billion per year, in financial transactions directly exchanging yuan for Rias's vice versa. This deal is part of Beijing's latest move against the U.S. dollar, extending its bilateral U.S. dollar attempting currency arrangement beyond countries such as Russia, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, to now include Latin American exporting powerhouse. While we are still strong, long away from the yuan replacing the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency, the current U.S. ruling regime is destroying the world's faith and confidence, not only in the dollar, but in what was once a superpower and is increasingly a third world banana republic. Tom.
So I think what most people need to understand, and this is where I think Americans need to step back off headlines and just learn something very, very quickly. And that is 1944, there was something called Bretton Woods. And that's where the U.S. dollar was tied to gold. In other words, the value of the U.S. dollar was connected to the value of gold. And between Fort Knox and other areas, we had gold reserves. So the U.S. currency on a global scale was deemed as being valuable, tied to gold, and stable. And in 1944, everyone came to this agreement to say, hey, let's peg the value of our currency to the dollar because the dollar is pegged to gold, and it brought international global stability. It also created the dollar as the world's reserve currency. Well, what does that mean? That means if you have extra reserves and you bought them in dollars, they were stable because they were tied to the gold. Now, Nixon, and we can talk about what you just referenced a minute ago, was Nixon taking us off the gold standard 72, 73, which had nothing to do with the Vietnam War and political instability in the economy at that time.
I agree.
It was deeper.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It was deeper reasons. That was the front excuse. Right now, you know what the average is right now on world reserves? 62% of countries' reserves are held in US dollars. 62% right now. And so even though we went off the gold standard, we're the reserve currency. So people see the United States currency as very stable. That's what's important. And what we're seeing here is the yuan. Everybody here is the yuan. And well, that's a unit of measure. The actual currency in China is called the renminbi. That's their dollar. Dollar equals renminbi. Yuan is like a unit. And so what they want is they want to slowly, remember, China plays a long game. They want to slowly replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency.
Will they succeed?
Well, they're taking one step at a time, and they're starting with African nations that they put into, by the way, you can also go study mercantilism, where you come in and you take all the resources and then you sell them back things that are made out of the resources. So China is in an active state right now of assisting many small regional Latin American and African nations on deals that are intentionally going to go bad and then leave them with the collateralization of the country they've just pillaged. And so long term, if somebody doesn't stand up, long term, sure, China could be successful because they're playing this not the way the West plays it. The West has played the game in terms of history, in terms of regimes, a regime of leadership. China is playing this long term in terms of decades.
Dynasties.
Charlie, what do you think?
Well,
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt.
Right now,
I agree.
I don't think they're a
Let
threat.
me see.
What do you think?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt. I agree. I think the dollar, it's gonna hit a flat line because Germany, South Korea, and Japan are not going to drop the dollar as the world reserve currency, and especially Germany and Japan. They produce a lot of value and a lot of wealth, and so the euro backstopping the world reserve currency, meaning the dollar being the backstop of the euro, is actually in our benefit. But India is going to be the big question, right? If India falls, that's a growing market.
Yep.
Brazil is a
One of the biggest
totally
markets,
corrupt country.
biggest
They're a
growing
broken
markets.
country. The bulls on Brazil have been wrong the last 20 years. It's like $1 trillion GDP. You could fact check me on it. They're mainly a natural resource hub, and they have a real hard time with their own homegrown industry. And there was like 1.6 trillion. I was about right. It's actually flatlined and gone down in recent years. So the bulls on Brazil have been wrong. And with Lula now becoming president, they're going to become a wholly owned colony of the Chinese Communist Party. Basically, that's what Brazil.
Catastrophic for the nation.
It's
by the
terrible.
way. Yeah.
The future of Brazil is put in permanent
tough.
jeopardy
They got a
because
terrible
of
economy.
Bolsonaro
Horrible.
staying as president prime minister.
And everybody thought BRIC through the 90s was just an acronym for emerging
Developing,
nations.
yes.
You know, Brazil, Russia, India, China. It wasn't. It was a coalition over there that wanted to undermine U.S. authority on
That's
a global
right.
trade basis.
So we need a new president because I don't think Joe Biden seems awfully worried that the dollar is no
We're
longer
really going
becoming
to
the
a
world
Cold
reserve
War
currency.
again.
You can say that it wasn't a good idea for us to become the world reserve currency. However, it's a fact that if we stop being the world reserve currency, every single person in America gets significantly poor overnight. The fact that people have to turn their on the world reserve currency. However, it's a fact that if we stop being the world reserve currency, every single person in America gets significantly poor overnight.
I don't
The
think
fact that
America
people
will-
have to turn their
They're not gonna let that happen, bro.
Nah.
We're gonna fight behind that.
I don't see this being a threat.
I feel
I
like
don't see
I don't
before
know, man.
America
These are
will
large
let
countries.
everybody go
These
broke,
are large
they will
countries, bro.
nuke
They
everybody.
can do-
China is the largest population on
Bro, they can
Earth.
nuke the bet you, but we're not even gonna get
I'm gonna
to
keep it
that.
literally,
I
I'm
before,
just saying,
if,
if
before
this
the
was
Amer-
succeed,
I think
I
before
don't
the
see this
American.
succeed.
This is not gonna.
I just think America.
They're not gonna let that happen.
So before they let everybody go broke, they gonna go to drastic measures.
But did you? He said that they like targeting poor countries. He said African nations in Brazil, but Brazil,
Yeah.
as I said before, has a horrible economy.
We said they starting there and they gonna try to slowly.
And I think that is a good tactic.
India is big.
That's
bro.
big. That's one of the most biggest growing markets in the
Yeah,
world.
A lot of stuff goes on in India.
Bro, they have a huge economy over there.
That's crazy.
Billions, trillions of dollars, and a huge population.
Don't
of
they have the most people?
This is some.
No, China has the most people.
And then
by far.
India.
No, but they're dense. There's a lot of them in the south. thing.
We
I thought
really,
China
we
has the
really
largest
haven't. What's
population.
China do for sure.
We really haven't.
China way bigger than
What's
India.
that shit called?
China and Russia teaming
But
up
India
is
is
a
deep. Like
problem
for
because
how big?
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
largest population and the largest landmass in the world. Too.
China the
Yeah.
deepest.
So them on the same side is a problem, and then the Middle Eastern countries, as he said, are trying to switch. They trying to say if shit go bad, we on their side.
India got as many people as China
They have
almost.
almost
For real?
as many people.
Wow.
No, India's small, but I knew it was dense. India, they deep in that little.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Yeah, I think
They-
if it was succeed, huh?
That's a problem. There's a lot going on in India. A lot of software companies and
Yeah.
billions of dollars.
Hey,
And believe it or not, their entertainment is kind of thriving as well.
Editing
Entertainment
came from India.
They have the
Bollywood.
biggest entertainment
Is that
market in the world.
Bollywood?
Bro,
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
biggest in the world. I'm pretty
the
sure.
editing company where all the movies like edit on Adobe Premiere is made in India.
Bro,
When you
yeah.
get on like a call, it's an Indian person.
India
that
has
did it.
has one of the biggest software hubs in the world.
That's
Yeah.
insane. What they do?
So I
What they
also
do?
heard with the remote jobs and stuff. So say it's a remote job in America, you pay an American person like you'd have to pay them like $100K for the job, but they could pay somebody in India like $50K
Because our dollar is worth more than.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's remote.
crazy.
100%. I was working at an insurance company, and we had, like I said, we had a full staff of, you know what I'm saying, like in-house people. He cut back on all that and just got remote insurance agents that were like via like whatever, and like saving so much more and thriving much
Yeah.
more.
Wow.
One, because their
I never
attitude,
that.
their determination for it is
Yeah,
like
they
on
really
another
were.
level.
I was listening to Fox News the other day, sue me. But they were talking about like China being the largest population and Russia being the biggest landmass, them teaming up because Russia already adopted the yuan, and then the Middle East with trillions of dollars with oil. I think they might switch to the yuan, so that's a problem. Those are three big markets right there.
That's in the dude on the Double podcast.
Do you
Yeah,
guys?
Tucker. That's where I heard that actually. Yeah.
Do you guys see this actually picking up some steam action?
I mean, I don't
Man,
know,
I
man.
hear a lot of
I don't
shit
know,
all
man.
the time,
like
man.
I said, it's a long game, but we have
Yeah.
to like intervene.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much politically, so.
I would
I
say
haven't heard
this
it all.
happened before, so you know what I'm saying.
I think it's
I didn't
alarming,
know.
but I don't think.
They said the
I don't
world
think
was
But
in
at the end of the day, what he said about how everybody in America will go broke if it happened, I feel like America will go to drastic measures tonight.
Yeah, they're not gonna let
Oh,
that
yeah,
happen.
bro, facts. You're 100% correct.
That's all I wouldn't lose sleep over this.
We gonna blow some shit up or fight some shit before we let that bread go.
I don't know. We're employable in other
Let's go.
countries, so we could dip if we had to.
America gets significantly poor overnight. The fact that people have to turn their goods and services into dollars is kind of a stimulus boost just baked into our economy. We're a place of last resort, a refuge, if you will. It's a built-in advantage that we don't even recognize or realize till we travel the world. But I think we have more staying power than people realize. There's a lot of entrepreneurs. We create a lot of value in this country as some very valuable companies. Despite the fact that we're service-based, we still have a lot of natural resources. We have a manufacturing beast that can still be unleashed if necessary. So we have a lot of advantages. With that being said, though, this current administration seems unbothered by any of this. And I mean, what we need is a new regime. You're right. We do think in terms of regime. Hopefully, it's President Trump, and we go directly after the CCP. But a lot of this is centered on a border dispute on Eastern Ukraine. All of this is. If that was not happening the way it was happening, a lot of these chips would not be falling into place, in my opinion. That is the beginning domino, because then Russia said, okay, screw you, we're going to go grow closer to China. You know, we're no longer, for the first time ever, Russia has just dropped basically all their dollars out of the central bank because we made them when we put sanctions on them. By the way, what does that say for world reserve currency status? This is why our leaders are so stupid. We basically confiscated the dollars out of the Russian central bank. That's not exactly safe and secure. Basically, countries are saying, wait a second, you can just confiscate our dollars? If we went after them and just grabbed the dollars and said, yep, they're no longer valid, converted into rubles. And Russia said, okay, well, that's an act of war, which it is. And so I think a lot of this is centered on this eastern, border dispute. We could talk about that if you'd like. I think it's incredibly important. I don't think people have really thought through the ramifications of our involvement.
And then when Xi comes over and says, hey, I have a plan B for you in this currency thing, tell you what, let's take something really valuable. I've got it, energy.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
need energy, and energy has a hard unit of value coming out of the ground,
Middle East.
just like gold does. And so what Xi did is he got value in the form of resources for the renminbi in a deal that looks like a trade deal, but it's a currency deal with Russia.
Right.
Where's energy predominantly found, like in the world?
What do you mean, like energy?
It's
Like
oil.
Yeah, not
oil.
oil. Oh,
Oil and
okay.
gas,
Gotcha.
that's energy. Like,
Gotcha.
when you talk about the energy industry, you're
Gotcha.
talking about oil and gas industry.
Gotcha. I'm saying where could that
ExxonMobil.
be found?
Middle East.
Middle East,
And
gotcha.
they
They got
switched
the
to
oil,
the
yeah.
yuan. That's why I was telling you, like,
That's
what,
bad.
in China and Russia growing into together, that's two huge economies, two powerful countries. A lot of countries are switching just in case something goes down. Like those, they're gonna be real powerful together. That's why the Middle East is playing a neutral game, and they're like, yeah, we don't side with nobody. So they switched to the yuan, and that's trillions of dollars in oil, which is concerning, which is a problem.
That means our gas might go up too.
Yes, that's a huge
So
problem.
ExxonMobil and all them going to India and get all
They get
They get it from the Gulf.
They get oil from the Gulf, but a majority of oil and gas here comes from the Middle East. That's why gas prices were high when the barrels were high.
And so what Xi did is he got value in the form of resources for the renminbi in a deal that looks like a trade deal, but it's a currency deal with Russia.
Right. Yeah, it's bad all across the board, but make no mistake, with the proper president, the right president, we can crack that alliance in 9 months. These countries, China has a lot of domestic
Well, what would
problems.
Trump do? You're saying that. So Trump gets let's just say it's 2024.
Okay.
He wins. What's he doing?
Well, first, he could go back to what we already had, which is you have a peace immediately brokered in eastern Ukraine. Immediately. You go in there and you end this stupid war, you end this proxy war. You then try to create intentional separation between Russia and China and keep them in their own corners. Okay. You go to the Saudis and you say, knock it off. You're going to keep on using the dollar for the petrodollar. You save OPEC, which will increase the dollar strength as a world reserve currency. And then you have to go after the CCP in like a 15-point targeted plan. You pull their visas from being able to go to Europe. You put targeted sanctions on them.
Yeah.
that's what
Again,
I'm
I'm not exactly saying anything that hasn't been thought
We need to
through.
get your ass in there. I feel like this sound out butter.
He's a super far right guy. I don't remember his name.
Damn, you see him before?
Hell yeah.
We ain't get Brandon in there,
I
goddamn.
see him arguing with people like conservatives and stuff. Somebody was making fun of his wife or something.
Make the shit sound all easy.
something.
All we gotta do
Go on in there.
do this.
Separate them two big
Do
motherfuckers.
that.
They touch
Get them
each
away
other.
from each other. Get this over there. Sprinkle a little of that.
Since you got the
Throw a little
blueprint.
side
I
hustle.
don't remember his name though.
He act like he got the blueprint.
I've heard him
Probably
talk
do.
before.
My boy said, 9 months.
Really serious scholars, but we have to have a serious plan to punish the CCP for what they did with the virus, covering it up and lying about it, and then also their hyper-aggressive action with Belt and Road, cyber warfare, infiltrating the American economy. Some of that comes with a price and a cost, but then more than anything else, Trump, if he becomes president again, will be energy independent again, there'll be economic confidence restored. I think that we'll see inflation put under control, because we'll actually have a rebirth of market stability. Right now, people are confused, they're uncertain, they're afraid of their own shadow, everyone's looking at what the central bank is doing. Entrepreneurs can't operate in an environment like this. And that's why you're seeing business startups go down, you're seeing acquisitions slow down. Whether we're in a recession or not, I think we are in a recession. It really is an indictment of the lack of confidence coming from the current regime. We don't know if a big tax bill is going to be passed. We don't know if the regulators are going to be thrown at us. We need President Trump to do what he did for 4 years, which is to unshackle the American economy.
Can I ask you a
And
follow-up question on this?
don't leave out Taiwan. Is that the question between China and Taiwan is market share of semiconductors. This got nothing to do with righting a wrong of Chiang Kai-shek.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why we should build as many domestic.
This is a question. So I noticed in under Trump's regime, his main priority was getting a handle of the economy and things like that. And I think Biden came in with an agenda to handle social affairs, and I wanted to act like social issues within the country, right? But based on what we were kind of going through with 2020, based on that, if I'm right, what do y'all think is more important with for us?
Okay, let's address that real quick. What has Biden changed socially?
Not to say that he did. I think that was.
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
that was his agenda. What has changed? Nothing. He promised to get the student loan
Free
bill.
school was his biggest thing, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, I
the
think
student
that was-
loan.
He invited the
rate,
LSU and I
that's
went to the
gone.
White
No, that
House.
was his wife that did that. And they actually turned it down.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Anyways, what has changed? since
I don't
he
think
came
that
in
he
office?
did. Oh no, he did. I wouldn't say he did. I think the
We got bread.
I guess pushing the agenda, pushing the notion that would happen, And my question was, hypothetically, whether it did or didn't, which one is more, if you had to choose one, which one is more
I would say
important?
The economy.
That's where all the power in the U.S. comes from.
Okay.
That's money. Money drives everything.
And if you give the people that's being oppressed money, not give them money, but let them earn money, you know, like in the economy, from a better economy, I think that helps more.
Yes, if we have a thriving
more
economy,
than putting Black Lives Matter on
if we have
NFL field.
Facts. If we have a thriving economy, there's more businesses and there's more worth on going to college and getting a degree, because then people will go do that to meet the jobs that are there, which will drive the economy. Because like I said, Brazil is in a labor shortage. That's why their economy's shit. They don't have people to meet the jobs, and the jobs are not really there. So like we need that to keep, because as long as the economy's thriving and the workers are meet, that's how you grow. That's how the economy grows. That keeps the money going. So to protect that is like essential in the country. And we need the money. That's where the tax dollars come from. That's where
money is power.
All that comes from.
Yeah,
bro.
that
So to me, I
so we
think
can't
that's
hurt. We
important.
can't hurt the entrepreneurs. Basically, what they saying.
Bro, that's money.
everything.
That's what it makes
Give
America
people
great. The
jobs.
fact that you can be an entrepreneur, you can create your own wealth.
The whole American
We have to
dream
protect
idea.
that. Yeah, we have to protect that.
To do with righting or wrong and
That's
things
why
like
we have a
that.
problem with the Chinese.
Yeah, that's
I do
right.
think
That's why we
social
should
issues are important
build
too,
as many
though.
domestic semiconductor plants as
And
possible.
this is not lost on Donald J. Trump, and Taiwan will
He
not
understands
happen
it.
that Taiwan won't happen that way.
Isla de
And they
Hermosa
know
is
it,
the-
and they
is the
know
old
it.
Portuguese name.
Yeah, my question to Charlie is this. I'm glad you brought up the acronym BRIC, which I think has now been updated to BRICS, because Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now South Africa is now the latest
The
component
mighty
of that.
power of South
The mighty
Africa.
power of South Africa. All facetious
South
as well.
Africa?
I don't mean to make fun of South Africa. It's not exactly a world power.
Hey,
but
Elon
yeah.
Musk is very upset when he hears you commenting on his native
I think
country.
you would agree.
He's an
Incredibly
African American.
valuable lump of
But
natural
here's my
resource
question.
is what it
I
is.
don't think there was anything. China was going to do this regardless. We know that they've been trying to come after
Yep.
the American superpower, and that's just what's on their agenda. China 2030. Russia was never going to cozy up to America. They were always going to be aligned with China in some regard. My question is India. I don't think China and India are aligned whatsoever.
They're not natural partners.
So they're not natural partners whatsoever.
They
so
hate each other, actually.
Exactly. So what's their role in this? Because I always thought that they, as the most populated democracy in the world, outside of America, where's India's role in that? Not that you're the India Pacific expert, but
no, I mean,
you seem to have a
think
very
about
good
these
grasp on
things.
what's
Look,
going on.
I mean,
here.
India's a tricky country. You can't trust their government. They're doing deals with Iran, and they're doing all sorts of weird stuff for energy. But India should be the most natural partner and hedge. You could squeeze China through a bilateral agreement with Korea, Japan, and India. And that's why America needs to be actively involved in the room and calling balls and strikes, using sanctions and tariffs where necessary, and using the global reserve currency status to be able to effectuate meaningful geopolitical change, which we do not have right now. I disagree a little bit. I think Russia's run by a bunch of thugs and mobsters. I think Russia wants whatever is best for Russia. I don't think necessarily Russia and China are these natural partners. I think we made it that way. I think what Donald Trump was trying to do was he was trying to keep Russia in some sort of a kind of ambiguous middle neutral area phase and then jab at China. Remember, Trump put sanctions on China. He, improved a lot of diplomats to be expelled from China. He was putting a lot of he was trying to kind of create some form of a jab against the CCP. The problem right now is the CCP is able to run undeterred right now. There is no counterbalance from America. So, I mean, look, for example, if we had an actual regime that cared about saving America, like, okay, China, you're going down to Brazil to go do a new deal.
They're not the disease control.
That's the
CDP, I thought.
Chinese Communist Party?
Center for Disease Control. That's CDC.
Chinese Communist Party?
Yes,
maybe?
that's the CCP. Yeah, that's the Chinese government. Okay.
Communists.
Communists.
Americans don't like communists.
Y'all, welcome back to the Cold War. Yeah.
You ready? Russia, I thought.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's the same damn.
Well,
we fighting communism. This what's going on right now.
Yeah.
The CCP is able to run undeterred right now. There is no counterbalance from America. So, I mean, look, for example, if we had an actual regime that cared about saving America, like, okay, China, you're going down to Brazil to go do a new deal, 15% export now tariff immediately on pick your product. Just make them feel it a little bit of, make them think twice. So there's no cost to it. And look, China has a lot of domestic problems. They have hundreds of millions of people living in legitimate third world poverty. Despite the appearance that Xi Jinping puts on like he's the most popular leader ever, there's legitimate dissent against the CCP. The CCP is run by a group of mobsters and thugs with no more than 5% of popular support. And so they got their own ticking time bomb. They have ghost cities, they manipulate their currency, they have bank runs that happen far too often, they suppress a lot of the news there, they're not a free society, they think they can kind of do this Marxist Orwellian digital surveillance state. I actually think that's unsustainable. I think it's going to break eventually. I could be wrong. And so China likes to posture as this really strong man. We could destabilize the Chinese Communist Party in 9 months with a proper president.
Wow.
The question is, do we want to? The only question is, why don't we? It's because they've captured our elites. And they call it elite capture in actually Mandarin. They have purchased the head of the NBA. They purchased the Wall Street. They purchase, the top people. Peter Schweitzer put this in his book, Red-Handed, where he talks about how the American elites are bought and paid for by the CCP. There's a great expression in Mandarin, and it's roughly translated, little bad talk, big help, which means they might talk a bad game against China, but they're a big act of help. You can look at the cover. He has Elon Musk on there, which I think is a little unfair, but he has Joe Biden, John Boehner, Nancy Pelosi, LeBron James, I think that's Henry Kissinger, and then Bill Gates. All of which
I know why they brought LeBron James up, because he makes money from Nike, and Nike has traders in China.
Yeah.
So I think that
so
is.
They said all these American rich people
they
benefit
because they do business with China.
Yeah.
So China's probably like cutting them deals, and we'll do this for you.
We got you
do
for
this for us.
Yeah. For real?
If I had to guess, that's what I'm taking. Because I've seen a lot of Republican people attacking LeBron, saying that's why he.
Well, I mean, LeBron is just. I feel like.
Did they hit my boy Trump with 30?
I don't know enough.
They hit him with 30 felonies, huh?
36 felonies.
Yeah.
They carry a sentence up to 130 years.
I think that's gonna hurt his.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
I think it's gonna boost him up.
You can look at the cover. He has Elon Musk on there, which I think is a little unfair. But he has Joe Biden, John Boehner, Nancy Pelosi, LeBron James. I think that's Henry Kissinger, and then Bill Gates. All of which would benefit tremendously from the Chinese Communist Party.
And then you see what happens when, like, a famous American actor like John Cena steps out of line.
Yep, immediately put back into place.
Or in Mandarin.
Or the NBA was regulating who could wear things in the stands of free Hong Kong protester shirts. Remember that? It's kind of a story that was suppressed a couple years ago.
Yeah, with Daryl Morey.
Yep, you were not allowed to even go into a National Basketball Association game with free Hong Kong T-shirts. So it's a hyper. I mean, if you think about it, it's.
I understand.
These associations, Hollywood.
I understand why they said China. Basketball is actually a huge sport in China.
Yeah.
They tap in. They drive up viewership and money.
So
they drive money into that economy or the basketballs. I won't say economy.
The NBA.
They give money to the NBA. They put a lot of money in there. China. Because like Yao Ming and stuff.
Kobe Bryant was a star over there.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant was huge.
Yeah, he had
Dwayne Wade was wearing the Li Ning shoes.
Oh boy, Dwight went over there. He said,
That's how Andrew Wiggins one year made the All-Star games. He had a fan vote.
Yeah, I want to see
it.
it.
All these people from another country voted for him for the fan vote, and he was an All-Star starter.
So I kind of see like some strings that are being
Andrew
pulled
Wiggins.
there. Now, like when he puts it into perspective like that, I kind of see.
So I mean,
I don't really know too much politically.
Yeah. Do you fault? Do you fault?
Yeah, how was LeBron wrong?
No, I'm saying like if you're in that position, do you fault them for taking that
That's what I'm
bribe
saying.
almost?
That's like lobbying, bro.
It's taking a bribe.
Yeah, it's very similar to lobbying.
From their perspective, they doing what's best for them.
Yes.
But if they are on some, we trying to help the country.
I would say they're doing what's best for them, but it's not in the best interest of the U.S.
Right now. I'd agree with that. I couldn't. Do you fault them?
Well, it depends on what they.
Yeah, nah, they making bad.
That's a good question.
That's part of their contract.
I don't know, man.
Is it their job to protect the U.S.?
I don't really know, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
I don't
really know.
Let's keep going.
Hollywood, banking, and sports are the three major industries that are controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And there's more than that. And tech too, but not even as much as Hollywood, banking, and sports.
The fact that we're being apologetic to them, like, hey, we're so sorry, what can we do to make you happy? And you can America helped China become who they are today with the relationships over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to interject, but without us giving them favored nation status, without the 1999 World Trade Organization treaty, they are a third world country.
Yeah.
Period.
Whoa.
And we basically said, okay, we're going to re-domicile our manufacturing assets. We're going to close down our ability to make stuff, and we're going to do this massive labor arbitrage where we're going to send all the jobs to you, and we get a bunch of plastic we do not need in return. And the robber barons that made those deals, and I don't say that lightly because I'm a capitalist, but it was bad for the West, designed this entire thing. But when you have a relaxed monetary currency, which we do, it necessitates neoliberalism.
Who were the architects of that deal in 1999?
Well, Bill Clinton signed it, but it was largely driven by consultants. McKinsey and Company was the largest company that was basically pushing the kind of idea that we're going to go to a company and say, we'll be able to solve. You see right there, McKinsey and Company, right there. It was that 2019? Yeah. And we're going to go in, we'll save you, pennies on a dollar. You could make this trinket in China for this. Even this tie right here is made in China. I was like wearing it earlier. Are you kidding me? Why can't we make this here? It's because we want to try to get the lowest cost. And for certain products, it made sense. But why do we make penicillin and vitamin C? 90% of all of our vitamin C comes from China. Like, that makes no sense. And so we offshored our critical infrastructure to a country that seemed to be kind of a passive country, and it's now turned into our greatest enemy.
And what did we gain from that? Just lower prices when you go to Walmart?
I'll tell you what we've gained. Our homes are twice as big as they were in the 1950s, with twice as much garbage that we do not use, and they're half filled. They're twice as empty because we have less kids. So we have piles of plastic we do not use, and factories that are empty, and then in return, we fill our entire communities with fentanyl made by the Chinese Communist Party, pumped through by the Sinaloa drug cartel, and we lose 107,000 people a year to drug overdoses.
Damn! Slow down, my bro! They make fentanyl in China?
Yeah, it started over there. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that at all.
Either.
Yeah,
You see how he said.
And then the cartel is
making it too.
Trapping it. Yeah,
they
must
I
be
knew
putting
that
it.
they was trapping it.
I did know that because it's always coming up through the border.
Yeah, that's what they said that. Yeah.
So
but I didn't know China was making it and giving it to them.
So I kind of understand. He said that. What did he say? Sports, Hollywood, and what was the big industry?
Yeah.
Hollywood,
Sports, entertainment.
I forgot.
He said Hollywood, sports, and banking.
Banking. Okay.
Bank of America.
The Hollywood kind of makes sense.
Chase,
Because he said in 1999 the WTO we gave him, and then Hollywood's a big. Did you notice like early 2000s movies? They were big on Chinese culture. I was watching some action movies.
Yeah.
Everybody knows kung fu. I'm like, why? Rush Hour was big.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan's from China. He was huge.
Jaden Smith over there, boy. We was
Bruce Lee.
Bro, yes. And I'm like, well, I don't think Bruce Lee's Chinese, is he? I don't know, but I think he's Korean.
Did you say Rush Hour?
Rush Hour, yes. And then like, just like, I don't know, just like a lot of Chinese
Tokyo
movies.
Drift movies and stuff was coming out.
See, that's like early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so like that must have been big here and there. South Park, they make jokes about everything. They made jokes about how China tries to control everything. Now South Park is wiped from the entire, like it does not exist out there. You can't Google it. It does not exist at all. And China was one of the biggest watchers of the show.
Wow.
If you go watch, they make jokes about it. Like it's a Mickey Mouse Disney episode, and they would say something bad, and they would stop it, and there would be Chinese like generals and stuff behind the camera. Like, we're sorry, China. We're sorry, China. China was so pissed, wiped it off the map over there.
Word.
It does not exist. You can't Google it. It doesn't exist at all.
Man, how long they said TikTok finna get banned?
Well, Trump was trying to get rid of that.
Yes, no, because it's Chinese spyware. What they can see your keystrokes. Bro.
They can see everything.
They can see everything
you can tell, bro, because the For You page is too bad.
They can watch what you type, all that stuff. And then apparently, like what they put on like China's TikTok and our TikTok is completely different.
Yeah. Have y'all seen a video of China's downtown?
They try to
toxic.
No,
I ain't gonna lie, China's downtown is insane.
like nice.
Yes.
I've seen the like.
They have a fake. They have like a fake Paris and all that out there. They have
Wow.
like fake monuments and stuff.
It's insanely
That's
nice.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all should have saw this train, bro. Me and Brock seen today.
Check it out.
Insane. In
Y'all-
China, bro, they got this train.
That it don't got no wheels on it. It's like
It's like
loading.
and it goes like
300, 400 miles per hour, nigga.
Yeah, I heard they were amazed, but I didn't know it was like a racism thing. I didn't know it was like anti. I thought they were more fascinated.
What?
During COVID, like in China, a big thing over there, like was evicting like African refugees from their apartments and stuff.
Oh yeah, they said Asians hated us as much as the white folks.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
But you gotta realize they are not exposed to like what they see on like when they put like they demonize the black people on the news. That's what they see over there.
Yeah.
So that's what they
We
think.
always getting in beef with China, bro. I feel like, bro, because like we got all these rich countries, we ain't never getting into it with no damn Switzerland.
But
Switzerland makes watches. They have one of the biggest, one of the most thriving
Norway.
economies.
But you gotta remember, bro, those is like we're part of the union.
And we
that's our brother.
We do business. We do some of the most business with China.
Yeah.
Because made in China, made in China. They can make it like you said, like countries like Brazil, they're good for natural resources. China has a lot of resources because it's big and they make stuff.
They have a lot
cheap.
of people to work.
Yes, they make stuff cheap, and they have different labor laws and different things going on in their economy.
Kids.
So there's different factors that drive their economy that benefits our economy. So we do a lot of business with them, and basically he's saying like we help them become a big exporter of their goods and being like other countries utilizing their cheap, and they bit the hand that fed them.
Yeah.
Basically what
He
he's
said
saying.
they'll be a third world country without
That messed me
That
up.
is kind of true because we was sourcing everything damn near sourced.
And we lose 107,000 people a year to drug overdoses.
And we'll take it another step closer to home, and I'm teaching people new words today, Pat. Maquiladora. Maquiladora means little sister. Maquiladora was the concept of putting a small factory.
Yeah, I think
and
A
I'll-
whole million would be
Fill
insane.
our entire communities with fentanyl made by the Chinese Communist Party, pumped through by the Sinaloa drug cartel, and we lose 107,000 people a year to drug
100%.
overdoses.
And we'll take it another step closer to home, and I'm teaching people new words today, Pat. Maquiladora. Maquiladora means little sister. Maquiladora was the concept of putting a small factory in Mexico where the labor was cheaper and products could be made, and then they would take a very short walk to the United States.
Yep.
So if that WTO deal doesn't happen in favor of China, it would have turned Mexico into the larger manufacturing power.
That's exactly
and
right.
what would have happened to the Mexican economy? You would have had the eruption, the good eruption of the middle class in Mexico.
such a good
And
point.
you can trace it
Exactly
right
right.
back to the issues that we have with Mexico, to the gang-style violence that there are in terms of controlling government areas in Mexico. Whereas if this happened, you would have turned them into 1950s United States manufacturing power. And what would have that done to our relationship with Mexico to the
It
south?
would have made our continent a superpower continent, is what it would have done.
Why
And
did
so-
not we have the foresight to do something like that?
Because you could make it for cheaper. They were chasing the labor costs. He's
slave
absolutely correct.
labor. And I hate to be that blunt,
makes
but the
sense.
Chinese Communist Party basically said pennies per wage hour for us to be able to make a shoe. And they were chasing the wage hour. And look, I'm a capitalist, I'm a free market guy, but also I want markets to point towards something virtuous and good. And not every deal you do is going to always be in that proper context. The Chinese Communist Party deal is a bad deal. And the people that defend it, it's indefensible. I mean, what we have as a casualty is we have become more in like an owned and operated colony of the CCP. It's breakable. It's breakable for many reasons because we still have a free society and they don't. The fact we have somewhat of a free society is our great competitive advantage. That right there is how we beat them. If you unshackle the American entrepreneur, we run circles around these people because you cannot possibly quantify or measure 20 or 30 million free people taking risks. That will beat a CCP oligarch every day. That's a planned economy. Now they have a mixed economy, but they still are not figuring out entrepreneurship there because they have to control, they have to confiscate wealth.
It's still fear-based.
It's still
not
fear-based.
freedom-based.
A true free society economically could destroy these guys in a decade.
And what you don't realize is you're seeing a reflection of 1950s and 60s Soviet Union, where they tried to put in place these 5-year economic plans centered around crop plans and agriculture. And we're going to export to Europe, and that's where we're going to get our power out of it. And they had a couple things. They had uranium, they had limited LNC because of the extraction that they were going at that time, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? That is exactly what you're seeing happen here, is these limited economic plans that are based on control of the populace, the labor force, are not working for China just the same way they didn't work for the Soviet Union.
Can I ask you a question, Pat? Because I know this is something that's near and dear in your heart. Obviously, entrepreneurship, capitalism is the backbone of what Valuetainment is all about. You've interviewed, whether it's General Robert Spalding, countless people what's the one gentleman that you've had multiple times? He's an expert in China relations.
Gordon Chen.
Gordon Chen, correct.
He's excellent.
So when you say that China is fear-based, and Charlie corrected out that you have 20, 30 million entrepreneurs here in America that can spur American exceptionalism
It's
again.
a great economic.
Where do you what do you when you say fear-based with China versus?
I'll give you a perfect idea. So if I go to TSA Pre to get my TSA Pre card, you're in fear because you're dealing with a government organization. Customer service is non-existent. The lady's talking to me as if I work for her. I told you to be here 15 minutes ago. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm driving up. Are you serious? She's like, yes, I told you. I'm like, wow. Then go to Clear. you go to Clear, you know how they'll talk to you? Oh my God, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for this, and thank you for that. Rob, if we can grab a bottle of water. So Clear will give you customer service because they want your business. TSA Pre knows you don't have a choice. You best respect us, right? Fear, free. TSA fear, Clear, free. America is free, still. China is fear. You're afraid walking around. You got to make that guy happy, this guy happy, that guy happy, this guy happy. It's all about that. This is why by the way, earlier question I asked of you guys, and I asked Charlie, Kelly, you can just bring it up. Earlier question I asked of Charlie, I said, what would happen to America today if Elon doesn't buy Twitter, if Spotify doesn't drop, if Spotify drops Rogan, let's say, and a Rumble isn't there, what would happen? Entrepreneurs are going to fix if Spotify drops Rogan, let's say, and a Rumble isn't there, what would happen?
Rumble isn't there.
Entrepreneurs. Rumble, I think is they can say
and a Rumble isn't there.
Rumble's a different platform.
Spotify drops.
It's not as strict.
Rogan, let's say, and a Rumble isn't there. What would happen?
Do with anything.
It's just
entrepreneurs
people
are going to fix 95% of the world's problems. Because in climates like this, you don't think YouTube in their board meetings they're talking about Rumble right now? What do you think they're talking about? You don't think Facebook and YouTube and all those guys are sitting there pissed off at Elon for allowing freedom of speech? You don't think you don't think YouTube and all the Silicon Valley people are not pissed off at Sweden, Daniel, for not dropping Rogan? How dare you not drop Rogan? How dare you not drop Rogan? Capitalists expose bad arguments, and that's what's happening right now. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here.
They were trying to get him out of there for some old clips. I think he said the N-word like 26 times, but it was out of context.
Okay.
I haven't seen the clips.
Gotcha, okay.
But I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan's podcast. I think he's a very open-minded, intelligent guy, so if he did say the word, I don't believe he would have
Wait, the N-word?
Yes.
I don't believe he's a racist by no means.
I don't.
Dave Chappelle real tight.
Not at all.
Not nigger.
Yeah, that's what happened, and they were trying to like cancel him. But freedom of speech would say like he's not in trouble. But as you can see, when you act up on a lot of these platforms, they deplatform you. So that they were trying to say they should have deplatformed Joe Rogan, but they still buy him because he has the biggest podcast on the platform.
So technically, we don't have freedom of speech. Then.
No, we don't.
No, that's the whole point.
So for him to say that we're the economy or where we would be.
There wasn't alternative platforms. That's an alternative.
But we gonna have to.
They gonna eventually compete. If people keep getting kicked off YouTube in the future, Rumble could potentially compete.
If Rumble takes, like I said, the Andrew Tates and the what's his name,
Rumble's different than YouTube because it challenges YouTube because YouTube you got to hit a standard to get monetized and make money, and then you have to abide by their rules on Rumble.
But how would that affect America,
bro?
Because Google
it's an alternative platform, so if people keep getting kicked off YouTube and switching to Rumble, it's going to be able to compete with YouTube.
Yeah,
and that's a free speech platform.
Okay.
So basically saying like if someone didn't create that, if an entrepreneur didn't create that,
Rumble's American owned?
I don't know.
Yeah, where is
I don't see how freedom of speech would hurt America though.
What do you mean? Wait, say it again.
I don't see how freedom of speech would hurt.
That did happen. That's what happened on Twitter.
They were trying to stop him.
They was controlling stuff.
They were controlling like they have like Twitter files.
I know that, but I'm just saying like
Elon's threatened to like expose that. Like his entrepreneur, if he wasn't a billionaire and bought it.
I'm with that, but I don't see how that's gonna affect America. I don't see how Rumble or Joe Rogan or Elon buying Twitter will affect America, bro. I just don't see like how.
Back it up, 10% real quick. 10 seconds.
I ain't gonna lie. If Elon Musk didn't buy Twitter, we would not know that they was all the stuff they was doing for the COVID and all that. And then you remember the police shit and all that shit.
He bought Twitter after that, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if he didn't entrepreneurship.
Like if he didn't buy that, we wouldn't knew about that shit was cap.
And like as Americans, we thrive off entrepreneurship. So like all of these like how can I say it?
Big companies.
So like
creators are basically now entrepreneurs because with the company you trying to start your own thing.
They just give you a platform.
And if you say the wrong thing, then your whole thing is done.
Yeah.
So your freedom of speech is being took away, and that's one of America's like principles.
Okay. Yes, and that's why he's saying if these platforms didn't exist to combat the things that are the controlling that they're trying to do. Where will we be? We would be controlled. Yeah. He's saying these platforms and these things. Elon, is not with them. He's his own thing. So he made people buy blue checks, turned fired all the employees, and made Twitter into a profitable business. That's why Instagram is still in that. The idea to buy blue checks because he seen how profitable it was for YouTube. They made $600 million off buying blue checks on Instagram already.
That's insane.
Off Instagram?
Yes, $660 million.
Yeah. People buying them, bro. People want, and then think about it. It's monthly.
Yes, so you have to keep paying. That's why
people go forget. People go forget.
Then on Twitter, businesses have to pay I think businesses pay like a couple $1,000 a month.
Wow.
That's okay, kind of
that yellow blue check.
The Twitch blueprint though.
Twitch owned by Amazon though.
But you gotta have a monthly thing for that too, don't you? For Amazon Prime?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a service though.
That's how they get you with a monthly.
But now
talking about
blue check like a
subs.
service now. You paying them like you having a damn service.
Monthly fees is the key, man.
So what else you get
That
with the
might
blue
be
check?
the bro. Monthly fees
just
is
get
the
the blue
blue
check.
I got you for $10
It's no
a month.
extra.
But until you die,
Stuff included.
I know on Twitter you get like Twitter Blue, which is like this premium version of the platform. There's a couple perks you get, but I don't know what you get with the Instagram blue check. I just know you just get the check. And people
It's
are
frowned upon almost now,
people. There's so much. The way social media is made, it's supposed to play on your brain. It's supposed to release
He bought a
dopamine,
blue
boost your
check,
likes, and all that
No, I
stuff.
didn't, bro.
You bought a blue check on Twitter.
No, I didn't, bro.
We exposing them.
I
They
didn't.
just playing on like the
I
factors in
watched
the
them
brain.
buy it.
People want that. They want that. I think it makes them status.
I'm fooling you.
Yeah.
My blue check is leaving on April the 8th.
Oh, they got you locked. They got your shit
He
locked
bought
in,
a
boy.
blue check.
I just thought it was cap, bro. When I seen it pop up on my Twitter, I said,
You know
this
blue
is
check
cap.
for real?
I said, this is cap.
Yeah.
I put on Apple Pay,
Head ass
$6. I said, I gotta see if this works for real. Then they had that
Man,
blue check.
chill out, Solomon.
Man,
They let
Twitter-
you pay with
hey,
Apple Pay and all?
Matter of
They made it too easy.
fact, no, they made it too butter. Matter
Pay
of
with
fact,
Apple Pay.
Man,
Twitter
I
gave
follow
me that,
Solomon on
man. Twitter gave me that, man. I ain't buy that, man.
Is it possible could they still give it to you? Or everybody who has
No,
it.
they can still give it to you.
No, I think you actually have to pay for it now, actually.
Yeah, even the people that are legacy
Because
verified
LeBron
have to
even
pay.
said, "Oh, I
yeah,
guess I'm gonna be
yeah.
deactivated."
LeBron said he's not finna say that.
He said it's over with.
A lot of
It's the
people-
principle.
Yeah, man. Let us know what y'all think. Will America be
That was,
poor?
that was very cool.
That was
video.
a great video,
I'm
man.
a business student. I'm hearing all the terms I see in my class. I'm like, okay, so that's what that means in context.
Whoever that guy was, we didn't figure out his name. I like him. He was locked in. He seemed like he had the blueprint.
What's his name again? I like him. I watched his interview.
I don't know what his name is, guys. Y'all let us know this guy's name again.
He's a Christian. Love Christians.
Yeah, let's know what y'all think. We gone.